Hi guys, it's Down Under Monkey. This week is week 5 of the Mad Aussie Challenge, and we are impressioning locks. So, you take a blank key, you insert it in the lock, tension it, wiggle it, look for the marks, and file down until you get a working key. It's a lengthy process. I'm not going to record the whole thing right now. I'll do another one later on, but this is going to be my attempt at it. So things you'll need: blanks, a lock, thank you Alex, magnifying glass or something so you can see the marks that are forming on the keys. The batteries are for that. Get yourself some files. I have more on hand if needed. A marker is always handy. A pencil and notepad to write stuff down. Digital calipers, if you don't have digital or you're old school, use your manual calipers. Analog if you want. This is my key wiggler. Interesting looking little thing. Never thought I'd find a use for it, but here we are. And a little probe, and I'll explain what that's for shortly. So I'm going to get started with this. It'll most likely be a photo montage with a little bit of an explanation at the end of the process I used. Maybe some video in between. Anyway, keep watching. It's all coming up next. So I made this little handy chart. Not a bad idea to keep a reference of where you're filing. So what we have is our pin depths from 0 down to 9. First thing you should do, well, what I did is 0 your key. Oops. So I file off the excess and make the key 337 thousandths of an inch, which is 0 cut. Now I've also smoothed it off. Where are the other keys? I have smoothed it off compared to the one on the left to make it nice so I can see marks. Now I'm going to mark out my pin spacing and get impressioning. Back in a minute. Oh, the chart, in case I didn't mention, is once you've filed down to a certain depth, you can cross it off the list as you go down, and this will actually give you your bidding when you're finished. Well, that's the theory. Alright guys, I am back with my finished product. Now this is a 6-pin key for a 5-pin lock. Now I didn't need to cut the extra section off the end. Totally not necessary, because when you put it in, it turns the lock. And it operates counterclockwise too. I really like that. So, yeah, done well. For anyone struggling with the Lockwood locks, I'll put these on Discord as well. These are your depths and spacings. So this saved a lot of time marking out the depths. So when I got an impression on the key itself, instead of trying to guess where everything was, I had definitive levels that I could file down to. This was a tip from Michael Gilchrist. Now, spacings, this goes all the way up to 7, even though I went to 5. S is from the shoulder of the key to the center of the first pin, so S to 1, and these are all in inches or thousandths of an inch. What I also found was this grid really helped me. Pin 1 to pin 5, and as I filed down a certain section due to impressioning, I marked it off. That way, if something happened to the key or whatever reason, I don't have to start again trying to figure out where I was up to. It's all right here in front of me. And this was my final code cut, 65654. And that's what we've got there, which operates the lock. Okay, another tip. Once you start filing these down, okay, you need to take down the center ridges as well. As these key pins start getting deeper, the ridges need to get less. And the issue is, if you have high ridges and you go to put your key in, it will pinch that key and you won't be able to get it back out. So what I found was a good idea is take a cylinder, if you have one, a core, put some long key pins in it, just put your finger over the top, take your key you've just filed, slide it in and out with a little bit of pressure on top of the pins. If it slides in and out, great. If it gets stuck, you need to take those ridges down, otherwise you're going to put it in your lock and she's going to get stuck, if you know what I mean. So that's not a bad tip. Another tip, which is for reference only, is the probe. So the point of the probe is, if I've got long key pins, if I put this probe in right at the top, where the top of the key would be, I'm pushing hard against the top, going into the first pin and sliding down. Now if I feel it get stuck at any point, that generally means there's going to be a short key pin, which means when I'm filing, it's going to help me to not overshoot. So if I happen to run down the first pin and I feel a click, a dead stop, that would tell me that I've got a short key pin in there, somewhere along this line. Now if I can slide my probe all the way down that pin and there's no catching, you can almost guarantee that it's going to be a 5 cut or less. Alright, that's just a tip for, it might help you reference roughly how long your pins are going to be, might save you some filing time. So what I do is I check the first one, slide it underneath pin 1, lift up pin 1, and then slide it down pin 2. Now because all these cuts are 6.5, 6.54, I can't actually feel any catching at all. So they were all quite long key pins. So that might help someone. As I said, you can't actually gauge what your cuts are off that, but you can gauge whether you're on the right track or not. So that's the impressioning challenge done. Alex, thank you very much for making us do this. It's been a bunch of fun, and I look forward to the next challenge. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.